Hi, welcome back to Bexhill West. Now, it's been quite a while since my last video, and I've been working on quite a lot. So in this video, I'll try and catch you up with what I've been working on. You can see some of the progress and how it's all shaping up. But rather than rabbit on now, I'm going to keep quiet and let these next few pictures do the talking for me. See you in a bit. Now, I'm not particularly keen on regrets, but if I had one regret with this model, it's that I used plastic sleepers instead of plywood. The simple thing is they work really well, the plastic chairs glue to them superbly, but they don't look very realistic. So what I'm attempting to do here with my limited artistic skills is to paint this plastic trackwork and make it look more realistic. So what you're going to see over the next segment is a multi-stage process which I'm experimenting with, trying to make these plastic sleepers look a little bit more like wood. Now, you won't see the finished effect because the finished effect will come once the ballast is down. I'm going to give it all an overall sort of wash with a light grey, and I think it will tie it all together, but hopefully you'll be able to see what I'm up to and it should make some sense. So, having shown you all that footage of painting the track, and whilst reviewing it, it occurred to me, I don't think I've shown before quite how the turnout mechanisms are connected to the switch rails or the blades of the turnouts. You've by now all seen my little mechanisms. I think I've promoted these quite enough, but I haven't shown yet how these connect to the turnout, so I thought that might be an interesting thing to have a look at quickly before we get on with showing you some more stuff. So I'll zoom in closely to here and show you exactly what I've done. So what I'm about to show here will come as no surprise to anybody who's used to sort of fine scale track work, but for those who haven't come across it, I thought this might be interesting. So on this sliding piece of the mechanism, if I operate it, you can see it moving right and into the left. I've incorporated two holes, and into those holes I sink two pieces of brass tube. So that's, if you can see, that's quite small. Anyway, they sit there and they take a little piece of bent wire. Now I don't know if that's going to focus, if you can see that. And this is the bit that drives the switchblade. So here is a switch rail, and it's been filed up here. This would be the sort of the profile that butts up against the stock rail here. And the idea is that on the underside of there, that gets soldered on like so. Slightly out of focus, let's see if that's a bit better. Okay, so that gets soldered onto there and then passes through from the top of the baseboard when the turnout is laid. And so we'd have two of those swinging from side to side. If I get this switch rail, not sure what way round to put it, but there you go, you sort of get the idea as that moves across, so the tip of the rail moves also. So that's basically how these things are working, or how I've got them set up. And so to control, now when I started messing around with these things, this was the control system that I was using, and it was really good, but for two drawbacks, shall we say. The first and main drawback, as far as I was concerned, was that this system works every time you press the button, the points change. They would sort of go normal or reverse each time you press the button. And I needed something that would be latched on. You know, you could flick a switch and it would stay latched on. So I looked out for an alternative to this. Now there was another problem with this, in that it seemed to keep frying the chips, which wasn't very impressive. Anyway, let's show you what I'm now using. So I'm now using one of these boards. This is a Merg controller. It comes as a little kit. I'll put a link to the Merg website in the video description. It's quite nice. It will do 4 servos. Excuse this sort of fairly lashed up setup I've got here, but hopefully it will do for the purposes of showing you what's what. So if I flick this switch, hopefully the camera's picking up. You can see this doodah moving backwards and forwards. Now what's really great about this system is this, which is a little setting box. Again, this is made from a kit. So we've got our servo is on number 1, so we would turn this knob to number 1, and we can set, I won't go through and do a tutorial on this, but just very quickly, we can tell it we want to learn a position to set the thing to. So if I, oh, to help if I plugged it in, there we go, I thought that wasn't working. Let's plug that in. So if I, with this knob, I can dial in where I would like this servo to be set to. So let's imagine that's, say, the straight ahead position, and then we could set the other throw, so I can again control that with this knob here, so I can set that to wherever I need it to be. Let's put it there. Press save. It's now remembered those settings I put in, so if I flick the switch here, it'll whiz back to forwards. Now we could do something else. We could change the speed at which it will operate. So and we could set that speed for both directions as well. So I've set this now to go quite fast. Let me now set it to go really slow. I'm just whizzing through this quick for the purposes of showing you this. Maybe we'll look at this in a bit more depth in another video. But anyway, hopefully you can now see that's moving really slowly. Pretty neat. And so let's set it now to go quickly again. So I think that's a great way of setting this whole thing up. I'm really pleased with it. Nice little system. So why would we want that level of control? Well, it means that the throw of the switch on the turnout can be dialed in exactly where we want it to be, so that the switch rails close up beautifully and don't distort, the mechanism's not overstrained, and with each switch rail being driven by the pins that I've previously shown, it means there's no need for the sort of the outer scale tie bar that comes across here, which means that correct scale stretcher bars can be fitted instead. So that's basically what I've got set up. Probably in my next video I'll show you underneath the baseboard and you'll be able to see my setup in a little bit more detail, but that's basically what I've got. Now, with the Trackwork coming together and the whole thing becoming operational, I've been turning my attention to the rolling stock. Now this, I think I may have shown this before. I've been working on a number of these. This is a Roxy kit, and here's a picture, or a little postcard of what I hope it's going to end up as. This is one of the two push-pull sets that were pretty much based at Bexhill West permanently. Now, I've built quite a few of these now. This one is still a work in progress. It's a bit grubby at the moment. I took this to scale for them and it's been handled quite a lot. But obviously I need something to pull this, so I've been working on this little kit first. So this will be the H-class engine. Whoops. Excuse me. The H-class engine that's going to pull one of these two sets. So set 660 and 661. So I've actually got two of these that I'm working on. So this is one of the things that I've been busy with over the last few weeks whilst I've not been making videos. So let's pop that out of the way, and that one just for the moment, and I'll get another little project up to show you. Now I'm thinking about making a bit of a more in-depth video of this one. This will be a Q1 locomotive. It's going to deliver all the freight. It's going to be delivering the pies and the cakes and stuff to Bexhill West. And there you go, you can see the progress I've been making with it. I've 3D printed a little gearbox and motor combo just to sort of test out where it's going to fit and what have you, and I've started putting the chassis together. This will have sprung axle boxes eventually, but I'm still sort of finding my way with this. I'm not really an expert at this. Now the kit's designed for 00, so I've had to put wider frame spacers in, so there are parts of the kit, for instance this casting which should sit down here. I don't know if you can see it's now far too narrow. That kind of illustrates the difference here between 00 and P4. So I've got to remake this piece. I want to get that done before I take this any further, but it's coming on, it's getting there. I've still got a lot of cleaning up work to do on here, but that's going to make up, I think, into quite a nice little model. I'm looking forward to progressing that. I'm actually working on several of these all at the same time with the idea that I can get them all to the same point and paint them all together. So I'll just show you one more quickly. So then the other little side project is here. Let's get this out. This is still obviously a work in progress. This is a schools class locomotive. There's loads still to do on here, but I've been enjoying putting this together. This is quite a nice little thing to do. This is really why there's not been a video recently. It's not been that I couldn't be bothered. I've just got a bit sidetracked with putting these things together, and I sort of got on with making them rather than filming making them. But maybe I'll sort a little video out at some point soon, and you can sort of see some of the processes that I've been through. But I'm really not an expert at this stuff, so it doesn't seem right to make a video about it. Anyway, mind you, I'm not an expert, but anything I make a video about doesn't seem to stop me normally. Anyway, that's coming on nicely. So I've got a nice little collection of bits and pieces to run here when these are all done. And I think with that we'll call it a day for this video, which is good because I've got loads more progress to talk about, which should mean the next video will be along a lot sooner. So with that, I'll say bye bye and see you soon. Cheerio.